Hello everyone, welcome to Donny's World and to Kick-Ass on Wellness Wednesday. Now, some of you may be wondering why I look better than normal. It's because I'm on my way out and I decided to quickly do my makeup before I sat down to quickly do this video. And so, I normally look like SHIT, very dull, very dowdy, very unglamorous, but I look a little bit better than normal today. So that's nice, I suppose. You'll also notice that the sound is better on this video than it has been on previous videos because I've got this fancy, newfangled microphone that should give you a better hearing experience because people have complained in the past that they can't hear me properly. Okay, now, last week, I told you that I had decided, after several failures, to start again with my weight loss program and try alternate day fasting, which is the method of fasting that had been recommended by my fasting coach, Rue. Now, the thing with Rue is that, so we belong to this kind of online club of people who believe in fasting and follow fasting gurus like Dr. Jason Fung, a Canadian doctor. And, there are people who do very long fasts. There are people who do short fasts where they just do without food for a few hours every day, which I believe is called intermittent fasting. Now, I found intermittent fasting too mild. It doesn't motivate me enough. It's just like skipping 1 or 2 meals. And I'm a bit of an extremist. I like to see results. I like a bit of, action. So intermittent fasting, it didn't inspire me. But then again, the prolonged extended fasting, whereby people go for ages without food and only depend on electrolytes, vitamins, and, water or whatever, it's too disciplined for me. I just don't have what it takes, at least at the moment, to go through that level of self-denial. So Rue said, look, let's compromise. Try fasting every other day, and it's called alternate day fasting. So it's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and Sunday, or Tuesday, Saturday, Thursday kind of thing. Okay? So that's what I started last week. And I've had far more success with that method than I've had up till now. Because up till now, I've always wanted to do like 3 days in a row or 5 days in a row and then eat at weekends or whatever. So alternate day fasting, I didn't stick to it rigidly last week. Not least because my goddaughter got married, and so there was like 3 days of sort of binging on food and drink. But this idea of going entire days without eating anything is fine by me because psychologically, you only have to think about doing without food for 1 day. And you know that by tomorrow you can go back to your normal diet. Though, of course, it helps if your normal diet on your eating days is very low on carbs, carbohydrates, okay? And sugar and all that. And, if you avoid alcohol and all the sensible things that, really no one needs to tell us this stuff. We know that, even if you're not on a diet, it does not make sense to go and eat a whole pile of buttery mashed potatoes or, 5 slices of cheesecake or whatever. So anyway, I've loosely followed Rue's advice in the past week and I've had quite a good result. I'm down by 2 kilos. And I actually would probably have done better than that if not for my goddaughter's 3-day wedding binge, which I will share. I will show you the pictures. It was a wonderful event. I'll show them to you at the end of the year around Christmas time, because it's a really nice Christmassy thing to share with people when I get all the pictures and stuff together. Okay. So, another thing. So, 2 kilos is not a bad result, even, especially when you consider that I didn't take it that seriously. Now, this week, I want to take it more seriously and to stick to the alternate days more religiously, if you like. And so we'll see how I do next week. Well, and something else, sorry, I'm not very articulate today, is that I wondered whether to try some of these weight loss injections, Ozempic, Mounjaro, Zepbound, Wegovy. Most of us who are interested in weight loss will know all about it. As I always say to people, if you want more information, you won't get it here because I can't make these videos too long and too full of explanations and details. Just Google it, and if you don't know much about weight loss injections, if you Google, you will find out more. So I wondered, because the thing about weight loss injections is they suppress your appetite, and they have some kind of psychological effect whereby they make you think less about food. And they seem to act on the addiction centers in the brain, whereby if you drink too much, you don't feel like drinking too much anymore. If you're obsessed with sugar, if you're a sugar addict, the sugar addiction goes down or disappears completely. People even say when they take some of these injectables that they lost interest in gambling and they stopped being shopaholics or whatever they were addicted to. So I mentioned this to Ru, and Ru says we should try and keep going the natural way without any additional medications. And so we'll do that for now. And but I am not ruling out the possibility of just going for the injectables and combining fasting with that, because it makes it easier to stick to the fasting if you're also taking a medication that helps you. But I must say, I do believe that if you can avoid artificial forms of anything, you should. So I'm with Ru on this in theory. So let's see how it goes. So here we are. This is the festive season. For Americans, it started on Thanksgiving, which was in the last Thursday of November. For everybody else, it's all about Christmas parties in the workplace, around friends and family. Even before Christmas Day, when we all gather around and do this sort of big turkey thing or whatever they eat on Christmas Day in your culture, there's loads and loads and loads of parties. I've been invited to something, at least 2 or 3 times a week between now and the end of the year, because the festive season also covers New Year's Eve. And in fact, in some countries, New Year's Eve is far more important than Christmas because they're not Christians. So, we as Christians are celebrating the birth of Jesus. But, if you're Hindu or Muslim or Parsi or something else, or Buddhist, you might just be celebrating the New Year. And I know that in some countries, the New Year is different from January the 31st, or, New Year's Eve is different in some countries. They have a different calendar. I think the Chinese, or, don't ask me because I'm very ignorant about that. But even countries where they have an alternative New Year's date, even cultures that do not regard January the 1st as the beginning of a new year, will join the Christian world, or is it the Gregorian calendar? Anyway, it's kind of like the norm now that everybody celebrates January the 31st as the beginning, because in the main countries like America and in Europe, the countries that dominate the world economy and whatever, you sort of go with the flow, and everybody seems to celebrate New Year's Day. And everybody seems to have a sort of party or raise a glass, and not a glass of wine or champagne or non-alcoholic beverage to say Happy New Year. And I think we all see the fantastic fireworks displays and everything. So why am I saying all this? Because December, from the end of November when the American Thanksgiving takes place, to the end of December when we have New Year's Eve, this is a period of celebration all over the world for whatever reason. I mean, even Muslims celebrate Christmas because they get a holiday. In Nigeria, for example, which is both a Muslim and Christian country, the Muslims get time off as well, and they send their Christian friends cards, and they come round for lunch on Christmas Day. So, we're quite blended here in Nigeria. The civilized people are very, very respectful of each other's religions. And so the point I am trying to make in such a long-winded way is that it's very tempting to just eat and drink non-stop between the end of November and the end of December. And then to say, you know what, on New Year's Day, I'll start again and I'll be a good girl or a good boy. But, I'm just going to go crazy in December. And I must tell you, I was quite tempted. I told you that I started my whole weight loss thing again last week. I was quite tempted to say, you know what, it's the beginning of December. Why are you bothering to start a weight loss program now? Why don't you just go on a massive binge, enjoy yourself in December, and then do what normal people do and start your New Year's resolutions on January the 1st. But I decided that I could gain so much just by losing, 3, 4, 1, 2, 5, 6 kilos in December. And you may ask, how are you going to do this if you're out at parties every 5 minutes? Or people are coming around to your house for festive drinks, like mulled wine, which I love. And everybody's just out and about. Not everybody, but, sociable people. I mean, even unsociable people are forced, often dragged into the whole festive celebration thing. So how am I going to lose any weight this month if I'm constantly on the raz? Well, this is where I want to give myself and you some advice. Accept all the invitations that appeal to you, office parties, whatever, or the ones that may not appeal to you, but you have to go to because, it's your main client or it's your work colleagues or whatever. Have a good time. We're getting older. Those of us who are getting older, don't overdo it because there's nothing more ridiculous than a very drunk, mature person. I mean, even young people look ridiculous when they're drunk. So, go easy on the alcohol if you're an alcohol drinker. And eat what you want to eat. Eat all the mince pies, eat the Christmas pudding, eat the turkey, eat the desserts. However, there are gaps, even in December, okay? So, any day you are not committed to any kind of celebration, just fast or do some intermittent fasting, or do without food altogether and just drink water or herbal tea or anything that's calorie free, and keep up the exercise. So even when you're hungover because you overdid it yesterday and you're feeling full, get up, put your trainers on and go for a walk or go for a swim or go to the gym. What I'm saying is that you can still get a pretty good result in December if you don't give yourself permission to go crazy every single day, i.e., oh, I've got 2 parties this week, so I'm not going to do anything at all. No, that kind of extreme thinking is what's put me into issues and problems in the past. And so I'm trying very hard to be more moderate and say, okay, yeah, I can still do something on the days when I don't have any parties or celebrations or visitors. And so I think that should be our resolution for December. And why am I saying this? Why am I insistent that I have to start the weight loss process now? Because, for every kilo you lose, takes something like 4 kilos off the weight on your knees. It's, because people like me, we're in constant pain because we've got dodgy knees and we can hardly walk. And so, hey, if you can remove some of the pain in your knees by spending at least half of December being good, why not? Why wait till January the 1st? That's my feeling anyway. Let's wait to see if I'm able to stick to it. And yeah, so that's my thing is, don't keep on postponing, don't procrastinate. I've got a friend who hasn't been able to stop since Thanksgiving. She knows who she is, and she was doing really well till Thanksgiving. She lives in America. She is American. But once she sat down with her family and had this big spread, she hasn't been able to stop. She's been eating nonstop since then. And saying, well, what the hell? It's only 6 weeks. There's only 6 weeks till New Year's Day. Might as well carry on. And I said to her, well, why don't you just try saying, okay, I'm not going to be totally good between now and January the 1st, but I'm going to be good half the time. And then that way you enter the new year actually in better shape than you were before. And that's quite a good way. I mean, there's nothing wrong with starting on January the 1st, but it's also quite nice to emerge into a new year in reasonable shape. Now, so let's quickly go to the section called Viewers' Voices, where we share a few comments that have been sent to me on YouTube. And there's some really, really good reactions this week, because last week when I talked about starting my Battle of the Bulge and my new weight loss thing, a lot of people have written to me, or I think, well, I wouldn't say a lot of people, but a few people have written some really good thought-provoking letters or comments. Firstly, Moya Greaves, 8092. She's in Suffolk in the United Kingdom, and she suggests changing the order in which I eat my meals. She says it has worked wonders for her, and she now eats her main meal for breakfast, and maybe salad for lunch and fruit and yogurt for her evening meal, if she feels like eating. And she has lost 56 kg over 12 months. And she's, once a month, she does a kind of milk fast, milk and yogurt fast. And that's just done really good for her, resets her liver, and so on. I suggest that if you want a few more details, you go to my last week's YouTube Wellness and Kick-Ass Wednesday and look at her message, because there are a few details there that are worth noting, which I can't read the whole thing because it's quite long. So Moya, well done. Amazing. When I finished trying this fasting thing that I'm doing now, I might try other systems. And this idea you have of changing the order in which you eat or the time of the day in which you eat really appeals to me. I've heard about it before. I've heard before that if you front load your eating to the first half of the day rather than the second half of the day, that it can really have quite miraculous results. But I'm not quite ready for that yet. So, but well done. Thank you very much for telling me about it. Then Patricia, 7760, Patricia Wask. Oh, by the way, let me quickly rewind to Moya, who said that she looked into bariatric surgery and then decided it wouldn't work for her. And I have to tell you, I'm not very definite about anything around weight loss. I am all for people trying whatever has worked for them or their friends. For some people, it's the Mediterranean diet, the Atkins diet. For some people, it's fasting. For some people, it's, lots of different weight loss plans. But the one thing, and for some people, it's these new injectables like Mounjaro and Ozempic. But the one thing I will be really judgmental about and very, very is bariatric surgery. Anything to do with messing around with your internal organs to reduce the amount of food that you can absorb is just, for me, just outrageous. And I have a friend who did bariatric surgery, and he still wound up having issues because he got his wife to blend Nigerian food for him, which he would drink through a straw. He also had his teeth wired together, And I just thought, you know what? Why? And it just seems so extreme. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. So let's just move on. I'm sorry if any of you have gained good results from bariatric surgery and believe in it. I honestly think you can do better, I'm just cutting away part of your intestine or sealing off your stomach or wiring bariatric surgery or wiring your doors together. Right. So Patricia, she uses Mounjaro. She said she thinks I should consider using one of those weight loss injections. She uses Zepbound, which is the same as Mounjaro. Started in April, has lost 25 kg or 55 pounds in 7 months. Her husband is also doing Mounjaro. And they seem very happy with the results they're getting. She talks about some of the side effects, which if you look at my YouTube channel from last week, my Wellness Wednesday slot from last week, you'll see all of Patricia's message, which is quite long. And she says, I will find fasting a lot easier if I'm taking the shots as well. I tend to agree with her, but for now, let's wait and see how it goes. She says she agrees with my sister and friends who have told me to be more aggressive about weight loss. She says she has been more aggressive herself, and it has helped her so much she feels great today. And her blood pressure medication is about to be reduced. I'm on blood pressure medication as well, by the way. And one thing that you gain when you lose weight is that your blood pressure problems are usually resolved. And a lot of people go off medication altogether, or they take a lower dose. So Patricia, thanks for that. Good to know that it's working for you. And one of the reasons why I would say, whether you are fasting, using injectables, or blah, 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 try and get, even though it's good to have a steady, anything is better than nothing. And it's good to have a steady, better a steady half a pound every week than nothing at all. Okay? But I would urge that people choose something that will get quick results if they're very fat like me. Because you see, when you've got all that fat swelling around your body, you are at high risk for heart attacks and strokes, dementia, and other ailments. So, the sooner you quit messing around and face and bring your weights down, the less likely you are to die. Imagine a situation where, because you're taking it so slowly, you die anyway halfway through, because it takes you 2 years to lose a whole bunch of weight. That's just my theory anyway. Then we have a comment from Jennifer Clifford. She says she doesn't seem to approve of the injections. She says her understanding is that Ozempic must be taken for the rest of your life, or the weight will come back on. And she has a friend who is 180 kilograms and has been on it for several years and hasn't lost a kilo. Well, there's something very funny going on if your friend hasn't lost a single kilo after taking weight loss injections for many years. And, I'm skeptical. Sometimes you find that people say they're doing something and they're not doing it, or they're not doing it right. But whatever the case may be, why is his doctor or her doctor continuing to prescribe something that doesn't work? Because, all drugs have side effects. So why would any doctor keep on giving your friend Mounjaro, Ozempic, Zepbound, Wegovy, whatever they're on, if it's not doing anything? I'm very, very skeptical about that claim. And then you talk about Michael Greger's book. I follow Michael Greger. Dr. Michael Greger is an American doctor, writes a lot of really, really good stuff about nutrition and health, and I would recommend him as someone to follow. I even intend to donate to his website, because he's basically running a charity that does research that's aimed at keeping us all healthy. And I think he wrote a book with a very catchy title called something like How Not to Die. So yes, I'm a fan of Dr. Greger. I'm not a doctor, but some of the things he says I'm not really into, but overall I really approve of him. And Jennifer, this thing you say about the weight coming back on if people stop taking the injections, it doesn't have to be like that. If I use weight loss injections and I lose the 60 kilos I need to lose, I really can't see myself ever going back to messing with my weight again. Everybody's different, obviously, but I would go off the injections. I wouldn't want to be on them for the rest of my life. I would be perfectly happy then to find a maintenance regime around dieting or fasting. Maybe I would fast 1 day a week to keep my weight under control. But I don't think some people may need to be on these injections for the rest of their lives. It's better than getting sick because you are way overweight and risking your life on that level. But, for me, I think that if I make it, I will make it. When I make it, whatever, I will do nothing to take myself back to the misery that I experience now and have experienced in the years since I got fat. I can hardly walk. I have breathing problems. I have knee pain. No thanks. Once it's gone, I'm never going back. In my case, I got this fat because of some medication I took. It was to sedate me after a very bad experience. I actually got kidnapped. I have mentioned this before. Go back into my YouTube channel, the Friday one, and you'll find out about that if you're interested. And that was what made me gain the weight in the first place. So maybe I'm lucky. Maybe once I've gotten rid of the weight, because I won't naturally gain it back anyway. Because I think I'm a naturally skinny person. Look at my wrists. Anyway, we won't go into all that. But I don't agree that people should avoid injections because they might be stuck with them forever. Because you don't have to be stuck with anything forever unless you're very unlucky. And then finally for this week, Emma J Music. Hello, Donny. Sounds as if you need to try everything that seems hopeful. You've been dabbling with exercise and fasting, and they're both good for us. What will you replace meal times with? What will that be, an hour of swimming or walking in the swimming pool, or an hour of writing perhaps? Why not try the injections at the same time? That would be going all in, fully committed to dropping weight as safely and rapidly as possible. And then with each, say, 10 kilo drop, you could reconsider what you determine is best to continue with. It may be moving to 2 days of fasting instead of 3 or 4 days of fasting in the week, and so on. So, Emma J, I think that's excellent advice. Thanks for the good wishes. And yes, thanks for reminding me that one of my dreams is to go back to wearing the beautiful clothes waiting in my wardrobe, which I have not been able to wear for many years. And so that's it for this week. Let's see how much I lose by next week. And next Wednesday, please check out Friday, by the way. This Friday, 2 days' time, I will announce details relating to a live streaming event I will be hosting on Saturday, 4 p.m. Nigerian time. I mean, it's not about health and beauty. It's actually about something really serious around assisted dying and suicide and all those slightly very grim topics. But, some of you who are interested in weight loss also might be interested in the more serious topic that we'll be covering on Saturday in the live streaming event. So see you there, I hope. Thank you very much.